No way.
Tried to make it smooth, but Mash decided to talk over it. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to episode 21 of the VR CruCast. Sorry we're late. Very sorry we're late. Completely my fault. I'll take the complete rap for this one.
It was all Brad's fault. He wasn't sure if he was going hat, no hat.
Oh.
What? Yeah. Where is the hat, dude?
Too tight.
The hat was tight.
Yeah, the hat got too tight. My brain flow was
Too big.
getting worse. I couldn't
Your
take
brain's
it.
too big.
Your brain
It's a
is
huge brain.
Yeah, it is a big brain, I imagine.
No.
No, of course it is. Of course it is, my
Get any
son.
extra? I could use some.
Anyway, VR CruCast, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. I'll tell you, you can actually lead this one out, Brad. I want you to talk about everything that's going on with Steam at the moment. Just tell me.
Yeah, they're actually like
Talking about
doing
straps.
things public facing, right? Yeah, SteamVR 2.0 came out, and then shortly after, SteamVR 2.1 came out and gave the new theater mode that I've been data mining for like a year now, so it was nice to finally see the first glimpse of that. It's kind of weird almost, but better than all those things though. It's been years since this happened, where you can actually tweet about a bug in SteamVR and it'll actually be fixed, which
What?
is crazy. It's
That
been
is
so
cool.
long since we had something like that from Valve. So yeah, they're actually paying attention to VR right now. So who knows why, who knows how long this will be for, but enjoy the moment while it lasts.
Does that mean the Deckard's coming? That's what I'm going to take it as, right?
Next week.
Yes, next week.
Yeah.
There's also a Steam VR Fest coming up December. I think the first week
This-
of December. It was supposed to
this is
happen
true.
next summer, but they moved it up for some reason. But yeah, we'll see.
I
Why
hope
would they do
don't
that,
just
Brad?
drop the Deckard, man. If they just drop the Deckard before Christmas, my kid is getting so few Christmas presents.
She's getting a Deckard that she won't be able to use.
You try it once. That's for Christmas.
There's
You
also
open it?
a bunch of branches that we don't have access to. Valve's being more careful about what slips into the code for Steam VR, so our data mining fun is like awful right now. And there's still a locked DLC that we believe is a bunch of drivers for something that we also cannot access. So yeah, fun times.
Exciting. That's pretty exciting.
I'll tell
Madness.
you what else Brad tweeted out, which I wanted to check out. You was able to play your Steam games in VR on a portable screen. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's funny because months ago, I think it was like in the summer, I did a bunch of experiments with my Steam Deck and like actually my Steam controller and stuff because I'm obsessed with like playing fight games and like VR chat and like having a virtual screen. And I did like a hacky thing. One of my viewers saw that and was like, "Holy crap, that has potential!" And they developed a whole overlay program where you can create a virtual handheld by clapping your hands together. It summons a virtual handheld that uses your Quest controllers, index controllers, or whatever inputs, and translate that to gamepad, so you can have just a magical handheld to play whatever game in your Steam library or whatever on your computer at any time, which is awesome. I've been waiting for something like that, and it supports 3D side by side. So if you want to do like 3D games in your little virtual handheld while you're in
Whoa,
VR,
that's really
it
cool.
works with that too. So it's really cool. I'm very happy to see stuff like that be made.
And it is called virtual handheld, isn't it? I believe.
Yep. And again, it's a Steam VR overlay, so it runs on top of anything you do in Steam VR. And I freaking love, I love Steam VR overlays. I want more of those things to be made. So I'm happy.
What
happy it
sort
exists.
of like performance draw is it taking though? Because I mean, you're in VR anyway, and then you're playing Steam games potentially in 3D in VR. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it must be a bit of an arse kicking.
It's definitely a high-end thing. You have to have quite a beefy PC, but it depends on the game. Like I was doing like Halo 3 while I was in VR chat, and I didn't have any issues at all with performance. But obviously it scales, right? Like that's kind of one of the things with the new Steam VR theater mode that's built in. For example, you can technically run the Steam VR theater on top of any apps because it actually is its own overlay now. But when they launched it, Valve even recommended in the patch notes that you probably don't want to be in a VR game just because performance might be, whatever based on your computer, and they don't want to be like saying, hey, this is gonna work. If you have a 5-year-old PC or whatever. So
So
but
so how
the
long
option's
before we
there.
can how long before we can load 3D shaders into that and play like reshade 3D flat games?
Yeah, that's a good question. I still haven't really tested how yeah, it doesn't work yet, but that is something that definitely needs to happen. And not only just that, but like playing around with the theater mode, because you know, this is all mostly on Windows right now, and it relies on Windows built-in recording features, which are not great, and you're very limited by your monitor, for example. Like it's recording what's on your monitor to do all these theater mode and stuff, and you just realize, holy crap, there's a lot of problems that you run into relying on Windows subsystems that are not built for this task at all, or built for spatial computing at all. And you're like, wow, I would really love to see Valve do something there with actually building an operating system built around Linux and their own spatial computing stuff with their game scope overlays that we constantly hear about and see updated about, because then you can have whatever, as many screens as you want, instead of just the one screen relying on your physical monitor that you're not even using when you're in VR. So yeah, it's frustrating.
Preach.
Yeah, there isn't many games that actually enable you to disable the output of a social screen to give you more performance. And I think Vertigo was one of the first ones that I remember. I think it might have been the remaster. I'm not sure, but yeah, when I saw that to give yourself more performance, I thought that's awesome, because it's not like you're ever going to be looking at that screen while you're in VR anyway. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Anchors are the trend. Again, I'm very sorry. We are late. Bad Robo says 25 minutes late, unacceptable. I don't know what to say, you know. But thank you all for being here. Jay Brat's in the chat. Substatica. So many names that I know. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Let's get some introductions out of the way. That was sadly it's Bradley who took over the show then for a little while. He seems fine. He did have a very cool hat on, which I think we've seen in a previous episode, which looks like it's from Back to the Future. Brad, can you just show everyone that amazing hat? Have you thrown it? Or...
Yeah, I was wearing this, but I kind of bought this hat when I was a wee boy, so it kind of was constricting blood to my brain, so I took it off. So
sounds sensible. Next up, we have got Skeever from Between Realities. How you doing, dude?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. You know, just closed out 7th season of Between Realities on Friday. Had a great community episode. It was super fun. Been played lots of VR this weekend, and you know, times are good. So
nice, mate. Nice. And where's your partner in crime?
He is traveling. He actually had a death in the family, so he is traveling back from taking care of all of that, and he just barely is going to miss this.
Oh man, he would have actually really enjoyed this as well then, if that's the case, because I know he loves us being on the show. Thoughts with you, Alex, if you're going to listen? Sorry for your loss, mate. Never very good. Next up, we have got Roots and Wes from Virtual Strangers. How you doing, fellas?
Good. Much better. Feeling healthy again. Just come off of a weekend full of VR game activity, and feeling pretty good for a Monday. But best I felt in a while, honestly.
That's awesome. What about you, Rootsy?
I'm feeling really good, actually. I was telling people last night, I feel a little broke. I let the best of the 4090 get the best of me, and upgraded my processor and motherboard and RAM.
That's the problem, dude. You can't just do one thing.
Well, this is where it benefits is it benefits Dee, because I'm selling her my motherboard, processor, and 64 gigs of RAM for $300. So she now has a 12700K in her computer. So it's it's a win-win.
Next time I'll give you $50 more.
Roots is going to have a quantum computer by next year, man. He's just not going to be able to handle it.
Once I got the 4090, I figured I might as well go all the way in and try to build for once my dream computer, which I've never done. And I got a Lian Lee case, and I mean it's actually really nice. But I won't be spending money for a long time, because it's a lot of money. I could have bought a Apple Vision Pro with just shy of like $400 with everything that I've spent over the last like 2 months or whatever.
It is. Do you know
So-
what? I think because I upgrade probably once a year, maybe maybe once every other year actually, and it doesn't seem too bad, you know, because I don't buy the newest GPU. I want to, and then I wait a year, and that GPU seems to sometimes even be less than half of what it originally was, and it seems to keep me ticking over that way. But I'd love to be on the cusp, you know. I'd love to actually be where you are right now and enjoying that.
Especially with stuff that you were just talking about, like as you guys were like worried about how this is going to performance wise. I'm not worried about it, which is just a good place to feel or to be in that respect, right? So because this is really for VR, that's all that really piques my interest right now is all the modding, the VR mods and stuff.
Yeah, because you did Red Dead Redemption too. Like you loved that in VR, didn't you?
Yeah, and I just finished Uncharted 4. We're going to be talking about that on the show in the next week, right? Eric, you're going to be getting into that here in the next few days.
Yeah, ready to roll.
So-
I'm Uncharted.
Nice. As Luke Ross, I did get an email recently. I think he's done some upgrades, hasn't he, to certain things or something?
Yeah, that and Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk, he's updated it twice since the Liberty update, Liberty City. And the last one actually really made the UI a lot more uniform, so you can actually see everything that's supposed to be going on in front of you as far as the UI goes.
How is it when you're like still aiming down the sights though? Because that was one of the things I didn't really enjoy.
I need to check that again because that was really weird. You're
Yeah.
right. It's like I couldn't shoot anything. I was missing everything. So it was, and
You-
it was right in your face.
Yeah,
Right?
you
I
can do
think
it. You can do it offhand. You can shoot offhand, but it's just not as accurate, obviously.
Yeah. No, but yeah, no, the mods are amazing, and I just think it's the most exciting thing in VR. Wes, the Unreal Engine mod should be dropping soon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
so-
dropping this year, and we're now what 6 days. We're a week in the November, so we've got 8 weeks left in the year. So Unreal Engine Universal 3D Injector will be dropping relatively soon.
Two things before I forget, because I do tend to forget stuff. Lo-Fi has now been delayed to 2024, not to anyone's surprise, I think. And there was something else which I did forget. Next up, we have got Eric Mash from QC's VR Gamer. How you doing, sir?
What's up, guys? I'm not doing pretty good. I'm power washing my way through life right now. It's a special time for me in PowerWash Simulator. Things are going so well. I'm absolutely jiving.
Game
with
of the
this
year.
game. It's
Yeah,
it's so good.
I can never tell if he's being fucking sarcastic or not. Like, what?
Yeah, it's times are good for VR, man. And when you can pressure wash in virtual reality, I mean, things just we're at a pinnacle time for us.
Dude,
And
come
we're just showing
on.
off what the hardware can do, man. It's amazing.
Do you
Once
know-
if I can power wash inside of Half-Life Alyx and I can wash away some shit in there, man, it's gonna be over. Forget it. I'll never come out of that.
That's what your friend should do,
Plug me in.
Brad. He should do a Steam overlay where you can power wash anything.
That would be cool.
Imagine like there's a future where there's like ads for like a power washing company and you can't play your game, so you power wash the entire screen.
Oh god.
Mate, all the best ideas are coming up on this show. But everyone's good. Yeah? Everyone's fine.
Yep.
Good
Oh,
stuff.
good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I realized? Assassin's Creed Nexus is 10 days away.
Get out. 10
Crazy.
days away.
That's what it says on the Meta store. I kind of thought it was later than that, but it says
No, it's 10 days for sure.
Wow.
Let's go.
that
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
17th, right?
could be the 17th.
16th.
16th.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just
Wait,
crazy.
wait a minute. It might be the 17th. You might be right about that.
I thought it was the 16th, but either way, it's a lot closer than I expected. And I think I was watching Virtual Strangers this morning at the gym, as I do on a Monday, and they were talking about how good October was for games, even though we had some delays. And it's only kind of when people like rack it up how many releases we had this month. It actually has been pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the best we've had in a while. And it was a slow summer. So it was super like highlighted about how many games there were for this month.
Yeah, we had a couple dozen on PSVR 2, and then on Quest we didn't have quite that many, but the games that were there were excellent games. I mean, there were some really good like game of the year candidate games that came out for standalone this month, which is big because standalone has sucked for a long time. So it's good to see that now that Quest 3 is out, that the games are coming back.
Yeah, towards the end of Quest 2 reminded me like a miniature version of what happened with PSVR. There was like that calm before the storm almost, but with PSVR obviously it went on to another generation. But there was a good 6-7 months where I think Roots put it rightly. Thank God some of us had PC, because without a PC and the mods, there was a lot of things I wouldn't have been playing and enjoying. So yeah, you're right, Wes. It's been really good. October's been actually very good.
And November's looking even better, which is
So
crazy.
much better. Not so much better, but it's going to be bigger. I mean, have you guys seen the banger that's coming in November? Lo-fi Katana. Lo-fi Katana.
What are
Have you seen this
talking
game?
about? No, I haven't seen that. Or VR Pigeons.
What? You haven't seen Lo-fi Katana yet?
Mm-mm.
It's coming in November. You guys don't know about this one? It's a gem.
Where's
No.
like mash?
And now I'm suspect.
Yeah,
Listen to the
way he said
name.
it's a
Listen to the
gem.
name. Lo-fi Katana. It's
Oh,
got to be
well, there you go.
amazing. It sounds like great, right? Check out the trailer.
Now you got me curious.
Don't check out the trailer, guys.
Lo-fi
He's trolling.
Katana. No, I'm.
He's fucking.
It was it. So
trolling.
it's listed as one of the games coming out in November, and I'm looking at this because on my show on Thursday we did I wanted to preview every game that's coming in November, and I'm like, holy shit, Lo-fi Katana, that sounds amazing. What the hell is that? Like I have never heard of this title. It must be. I mean, listen to the title. It must be really good. It's Beat Saber with Japanese fans. Like the hand fans.
Yeah.
So I'm like getting into this game. I'm like, I think this is going to be amazing. And I'm like, what in the hell? They don't even have a katana in the game. It's hand fans.
Did you play? Oh,
Beat
you didn't
Saber
get an
hand
advanced.
fans. I can't wait. I'm going to get an advanced copy. I'll be all over it.
What is VR
already reached out.
Pigeons? Is that real?
It's
Are you trolling? Is that
shovelware. No, that's a
It's
real
real.
title. It's on the PlayStation Store.
PlayStation 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
VR Pigeons.
It's
Yeah.
joining
Yeah.
with PowerWash VR. After the pigeons shit everywhere, you power wash it off the ground. So.
Really? Is this real?
There's a trailer that you
Oh, yeah.
should
No,
go
it's real.
watch. You should go watch the VR Pigeons trailer.
Right, hold
And,
on. I don't know if I'm...
Yeah, watch
watching
the
it right
VR
now.
Pigeons trailer and then watch the Lo-fi Katana trailer. You'll have
I watched both.
actually.
For a minute, I thought you meant lo-fi was finally coming out. I was like, what? No.
No,
way.
Lo-fi
Oh,
Katana actually beat
Right.
Lo-fi.
I am going to try and find both of these trailers. We don't look at trailers on this show very often.
Actually, you want to find? There's another one too. There's a game that is coming. It is called Cookie Night.
Right.
Coming in
I
November.
saw that.
It
Yeah.
is actually.
Cookies?
I said, Todd, pull this because it must be garbage. So I'm like, pull this thing because I want to make fun of it on my show. And we watched the trailer together live. It looks freaking amazing. It's
Yeah, it don't
basically
look bad.
It's a gingerbread man, kind of like adventure game. That the trailer looks kick ass. If it's anything like the trailer, I started watching the trailer. And I'm ready to like make fun of it, and I'm watching it like my eyes get bigger and bigger and bigger as I watch the trailer, and I'm like, this looks pretty damn amazing.
Right.
Well, I'm
Don't look
watching.
bad at all.
Right.
I'm
Hold on.
watching the
For
Cookie
VR
Night.
Pigeons trailer.
VR
Yeah.
Pigeons. Okay. Pigeon Simulator. I can't believe there's a game on Xbox called that.
Pigeon Simulator.
Pigeon Simulator.
No, that's not it.
All right. Okay. Here we go. I've got some gameplay. Right. I can't believe we're going to do this.
Looks like a bar fest. Look at the
Yeah.
head walls. It looks like
So you have to bob your
What the
head
fuck?
to
Hold on.
pick up bread.
Yeah,
And the commercial's hilarious because it's just constantly people doing like
Yeah.
the
The
old
movement
red
system.
rooster,
The
you know?
movement system is you have to move your head. You have to bob your head. You know who loves to do that movement?
Yeah, I do.
My mom.
Oh yeah, she's good at it.
She
too.
loves the pigeon game.
She's really good at it.
What the hell
I
am
heard.
I watching? Oh my god.
Wowza.
Telling you, man, we are reaching a pinnacle in the world of virtual reality.
Look, if we didn't have games like this, games like Vampire Masquerade might not look as good, right?
I
So-
don't. I don't even know about that.
Yeah, but
Is
when
this-
can you find time to play a game like that when you have Lo-fi Katana and VR Pigeons?
Oh my god, it's 10 minutes of VR Pigeons.
Is it?
Yeah, you
It's
just sold
10
so many
minutes.
copies of these games, Mash. You gotta stop selling the games you hate.
Cookie night. I'm excited for cookie night. Seriously,
Lo-fi katana.
I'm playing lo-fi katana, man.
You gonna play it?
Because I don't
An
like Beat
actual
Saber, but
fan?
if I could do it with Japanese hand fans, I mean, it's a whole different story. for
Oh,
me.
it's gonna be
Like,
yeah, it's gonna be completely different for
I
sure.
want to see that video, bro. I want to see you like glue the fans to your
Oh
custom.
my god,
Yes.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Do
Well,
it.
there's
You
someone.
think we could get Mr. Tasselhoff to make some fan attachments?
Oh,
for
he's
controllers?
already-
Yeah,
he's
I can
already
attach my
on it, I
controllers
think.
to the Japanese fans. Absolutely. Let's do this.
Wasn't one of the Mortal Kombat characters named Katana, and she had one of those
Yes.
fans?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what
Yep.
it's more of a play on that than actual sword, right?
I mean, I really thought this was going to be kind of kick ass.
They've done katanas. It has got katanas, Mash.
I don't know. I didn't see any in the trailer. I was watching. It was all hand fans.
Well, you need to go deeper.
They've done like a live trailer for it as well. Like Brad would appreciate this trailer, I think.
But like,
Yeah.
I'm watching, man, and I'm like, this must be really good. I'm like lo-fi
Right, what's the other one?
Katana.
What's the other one? Let's get the crap out of the way. What's the other one? Cookie what?
cookie night.
Cookie. Is that night as in night time? Yeah, just not an armored knight or anything.
No, I think it means like night,
it's
like in
armored knight.
It's like a.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, she
And
does
yeah,
have a katana in her hand, Mash. You didn't see
Yeah, but
that?
she doesn't use it during the game. She uses the fans.
Well, I can't find a trailer for Cookie Night.
Oh,
That's
really?
odd because I think that one was.
Oh,
It's
try
none
it
of
with
the-
try
Look-
night with
look-
a K.
Oh, I did. Oh, look, dickhead. Look. Apologies, guys.
I'm pretty sure this one was in one of the showcases, like maybe the Meta Showcase or one of the other ones. And
Cookie Night. Oh, I got Cookie Run.
No,
Cookie
this is
Run?
Now I'm
Cookie Night.
hungry.
You sure it's not Cookie Run?
it might
pretty
be. Let
Cookie Run.
I've
I
got
got-
Cookie Run. And
That's what
Let me
Ewar
look.
says.
I'll look. Hang on.
yeah, it's Cookie Run.
Cookie Run. They changed the title.
Probably because
No.
of all the feedback from you. You got cookies for hands by the looks of it or something.
Cookie
this
Run.
looks
Everyone in the
pretty-
chat
this
says
looks pretty
Cookie
pleasant.
Run.
Oh, it's Cookie Run, the darkest
Night,
chapter
yeah.
1. Holy shit, the longest title in the world.
Well, this
Cookie
looks
Run.
pleasant though.
It looks awesome. That's what I'm saying. I got the trailer because I'm like, this is going to be something I can make fun of, but it actually looks really good.
It actually doesn't look too bad.
He wants to tell you about. He's like, anybody know the Muffin Man?
Muffin Man.
He just reminds me of the character of Gingy from Shrek. Everybody see Shrek?
I always think about what's his name? Who's the prince? Lord Farquaad.
Yes.
When he gets the gingerbread guy. I feel so bad for him. Not the gumdrop buttons.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm looking for in this one. I'm looking for that.
Well, there was a slight detour I didn't expect to happen, but Mash's
What?
trolling is so hard to ignore.
I mean, I'm not trolling you. I'm really looking forward to Cookie Run.
Right, so
Darkest Night, Chapter 1.
Out of those three things you gave, only one of them wasn't trolling, and it's very hard to tell the difference.
Maybe. Maybe.
It is super hard to tell the difference. But yeah, I mean, some great games are coming. What games have we got coming next month? I know Wes, I know.
I got you right here, actually. You got well, you got it already, Wes. I already have it open unless you want to go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Sniper Elite Winter Warriors coming
Yeah.
this month.
I'm very much
Super
looking
pumped for
forward to
that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel bad for a lot of people at the moment who are just like, is Assassin's Creed coming to PSVR 2? Is Sniper Elite coming to PSVR 2? And it's all about meta paying for the exclusives. You know, it's just the gaming war is on.
Anybody that has a PlayStation VR 2 that's bummed out about it when Resident Evil 8 or no, which
Remake.
was 4 for the
Four,
remake
remake,
comes
yeah.
out or any of the exclusives come out, it'll be your turn. You know, that's just the way it works. Or, you know, it's good to have multiple platforms if you're able to, for this exact reason, right?
For sure.
Stranger Things VR comes out this month. Breachers is coming to PSVR 2 this month.
Demio Battles comes next week.
Yeah, Demio Battles.
Dried Fates comes this week.
Oh, has anyone played that yet? I got access. I haven't played it yet. Is it good? I just want to know if it's good.
Well, I don't know. Yes, it may be the best thing they've made, but I don't know what I'm really supposed to say about it. So I'm just gonna.
That means I'm happy to check it out. That's the thing. Like, not that.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Barbaria is coming to PSVR 2 this week, which I haven't
Yeah.
played Barbaria before, but
It's good.
I'm hearing really good things about it.
I have.
It's actually really good. Yeah, I played it on Quest. It's really good. Also, Kill It With Fire is coming to PlayStation VR 2 as well.
That is.
I'm a huge fan.
Super fun. That's the thing. I've done these games. I don't think I'd make another video on them, but yeah, Kill It With Fire was fun. Barbaria was good. I might do that one again. Actually, I might do that one again. That was good.
What about the PSVR R2 version of the Peaky Blinders?
Oh yeah.
That game was awful.
Was it awful? I seem to remember you saying that it was just kind of average and you expected it to be better.
Let me think. I tell you why I said it was awful is because the AI of the enemy was just non-existent at the time, and it just felt very clunky. I mean, it could be very different. Maybe I should revisit it again because the world did feel good and the world did look good and the character voices were really good. If you're a fan of the show, and I did actually, this is what I said in my review. If you're a fan of the show, you'll get something out of it. Like, you'll enjoy it. But I think if you're just like, oh, this game looks good, I think you'll pick it up and be like, nah, this isn't very good. That's
so what you're saying is I'm going to be playing it this week, so I probably should go watch the show first.
Uh-oh.
It's like
Is
3
the show even
seasons.
worth watching?
That sounds like homework.
Yeah, the show's really good, man. The show's good. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Substatica put it right. Basically, as I said it as well. Peaky Blinders is a playable experience. Fans would like it. It's a very simple game. That's pretty much, nail on the head there. It's very straightforward. And it's for fans. You know, he's called what it is.
And so we're still waiting on a release date for Vertigo 2. That could drop this month. We're waiting on release date for Madison VR, and all of those perp games. What was the other one? Happy Funland and Numata. We're waiting on release dates for all of those. So any and all of those could show up this month as well.
I'm reserved for
Tiger
Happy
Blade
Fun
is coming.
Yeah, Tiger Blade. That's another one.
Rooms of Realities goes to PC VR and Quest on the next week or this week, next week.
Yeah, it comes out early access next week. And there's a 10 Hearts demo coming out this week as well for PSVR 2.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I was offered early access to that as well. I've literally just been. I was on holiday. I did all my footage for Pavlov, and then because that's coming to Quest officially now with some new maps and stuff. And I did all my footage, but then I had to obviously do every other video that I put up while I was gone, and I just didn't have time. So yeah, literally for the last 16 hours I've been working on a video. So it's like crazy stuff.
10 Hearts is that one soldier game, right? Where you're leading them or whatever to like lemmings. I thought that was really cool.
Is it already released though, 10 Hearts in VR?
Well, it was on PC when
it was out on PCVR years ago. Upon talking to the developer, what they've said is that they pretty much regard that version of the game as a playable prologue, and the game has been fully finished out now. So there's
cool.
50 plus levels and hours and hours of content. So
I thought the game alone was already really good. So that's really good. Good news.
Have you guys? So I know Mash mentioned it earlier. Have you guys played PowerWash? Have you been in there and multiplayer?
I watched Paradise Decay call it the game of the year today.
Did he really? Was he
Yeah.
serious?
He was joking.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I don't think he was. I think he was being serious.
A lot of people really love this game. It is not for me, but a lot of people really love it.
Game
I
of the
didn't
year?
hate it. I didn't hate it. But it's monotonous and kind of
It's a waste of time, right?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and the only reason I didn't hate it is because I think when you get in there, you're your mind takes over and makes you want to finish what you're doing, and that's it though. But because when I'm in there doing it, I'm like, wow, this is just, there's no music, there's no sound. All you hear is the pressure washer. I mean, like, I don't know if, and you can co-op it, but if they had like, if you could bring your own music in or bring a YouTube video in and go in with friends and power wash, I guess, and watch, and it would be like doing real VR fishing. I think at that point it would be like a relaxing kind of thing to do. But for me, it's monotonous, man. Like the second level is this huge backyard that you have to go clean. It literally took me like an hour and a half, like to go clean it all. And I had to go hunting around for like little specks of dirt because you can't finish unless you find every little tiny speck of dirt. And like, you know, you have one speck underneath a table somewhere that you missed and you end up running around trying to find it. So
yeah, my
If there's anyone,
sorry.
if there's anyone in the viewing audience that lives in the Kentucky area or the tri-state area that really, really loves the PowerWash Simulator,
Or
please hit
Phoenix.
me up and visit me, because I have a great real life experience that you're absolutely going to
It's
love.
not the same, bro. It's not the same.
It's
not the
very
same.
similar. Well, of
It's
course,
very similar.
you get soggy shoes in the real life version.
That's
but,
true.
Outside of that, it's very similar.
Wes will
There-
get you
there is-
pizza. Like you get pizza.
There is something that's oddly satisfying about power washing. But the thing is by the time I get 10, 15 minutes into it, like I'm done. Like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. So yeah.
We got 2 super chats earlier. Sorry, I missed them. One from Blue Bottles for £5. He says, "Smile for a screenshot, gentlemen. You're all looking dapper." So I don't know if you want to do that at some point. We can do it now if you want. If I count us down to 0 or something, or 3, 2, 1, and then all smile. So 3, 2, 1. Is that enough? I think that was pretty good.
Okay.
And
Brad
then,
didn't smile.
No, you did.
He smiled inside.
I hope he did.
How about this co-op with the Power Wash Simulator, but one of the people has like a mudslinger. Like I can be fucking up your cleaning, and you have to clean it quicker than I can mess it up. I think that'd be
That's
fun.
cool. Now there's some like objective stuff going on here.
Sounds
I'm
like
liking
Splatoon in a way.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. That would be fun.
They're like Prop Hunt, the game Prop Hunt.
I love Prop Hunt.
He defined the dirty person. Okay, well, Prop Hunt, if you know what Prop Hunt is, it's a custom game in a lot of different games where you it's basically hide and seek, but you become a prop in the map and try to stay still while someone finds it.
Hunt, man. Yeah.
Well,
cool.
you know, just do a pressure washer prop hunt. Just put a dirty prop that people can be and just hide around, and you have to be completely washed to be killed by the guy with the pressure washer.
That's actually that'd be fun.
Would you like to be washed, Brad?
Clearly, by my looks right now, probably not. No.
I saw a clip of you the other day. Was you like a little turtle running around in a level and someone was chasing you?
Oh, I was a raccoon. Yeah, someone put so in VR chat, people can put collars on you and drag you around. So they put a collar on me as a little raccoon and just dragged me till I got pulled off the edge of infinity and died.
We got a super chat from Fifth, $5. Thank you ever so much. Could you each say your most fun game this year? Doesn't have to be the best, just the most fun. Does anyone want to lead out with this one?
I'll go Gazzlers. Probably my most fun game this year.
Okay.
I continue to go back to that game and I have a blast in it. It's not the deepest game in the world, but there's so much fun there that, you know, like I said, I would never vote it for like game of the month or game of the year, but I've put tons of time into it already.
It was fun.
What's your one, Wes? Sorry.
No, I was just agreeing with Eric. I mean, it's hard for me to just pick one of those type of games right off the top of my head. You know, when I think about what's been the most fun for me, it would either be Resident Evil Village or Vertigo 2. Like those are the ones that I really loved this year. But there's been a ton of really great releases out this year.
If I'm gonna go fun, I tend to think of multiplayer, and it's a cross between actually Pavlov. I'm not just saying that because it's coming out. I think that's a game that I kind of forget how good it is. And when you're playing like Search and Destroy or TTT with the right people, that's an absolute blast. That's a really good game. But the other one would be Dungeons of Eternity.
I forgot about that.
I had a great
Yeah.
time. I've had a great time in that game.
I remember now. I know what the correct answer to this question is now. The correct
Ghostbusters.
answer is no, not Ghostbusters. It's Synapse.
Yes,
Synapse.
that's
is-
my answer.
Oh, that's a good
Synapse.
answer.
All
That's
the
a
way, buddy.
that's a good
That's
one.
good.
That is a
Unless
good-
Ghost of Tabor counts. Does Ghost of Tabor count or no?
Yeah,
Because
of
it's not
course.
officially
It's
released.
a fun game. What game have you played in VR that is fun?
Ghost of Tabor. And
I'd say for me, it would have to be Uncharted 4. And it's just because like the story, like everything about it, you know, like I haven't played a game like that really grabbed me story wise, the characters. Like I really felt like I was on this national treasure scavenger hunt type of thing with my brother Sam, and like the little banter between the characters, and it just was an all-around amazing experience. And the fact that I could do it in VR is just, it blows my mind away. It has everything, and it's kind of reminds me of what we were we were just talking about a game last night. Wes, which one was it that was built from the ground up that was kind of that way? I know Seventh Guest was probably one of them, but like we're starting to get to games, they're not AAA level, but you need to have it has to have everything in there, like the story, the atmosphere, the gameplay, that just everything needs to click. It's kind of like watching a really good series on TV that that you loved, and everything clicked together, the acting, the actors, the writing, and you could never do it again because it's kind of magical. I kind of look at a lot of these games that way. They don't just kind of fall together. And so that's kind of why I think Uncharted 4 was amazing.
Quite
Great.
interestingly, someone said you're just flexing your 4090 there, Roots again.
Ooh, I like it.
But,
Yeah,
no,
I'm
you-
not flexing my 4090.
You don't need a 4090. You don't
Yeah,
need
no.
a 4090 to run that game well. Like it runs with my 3080 on my Reverb G2 just fine.
Right. I mean, it's the games back then, if you think about it, they looked really good. The graphics haven't really gotten that much better in the last decade or so outside of lighting. Like the graphics were there. So these games look phenomenal. The gameplay is there. I just think I just love deep games and games that I can really get lost in. And that game was amazing. I recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, adventure games are the best. And the fact that this game takes you on like a story-driven adventure and continually switches up the gameplay, like as you make your way through the campaign, it's constantly adding new things in to keep the game fresh. It's just excellent. It's one of the best games I've ever played flat, and now one of the best games I've ever played in VR.
I would say recently, Seventh Guest has been one of the real surprises of this year for me. Like I really enjoyed how high quality that game was, and how well made it was. But the interesting one, and probably the one I've seen quite a big divide on most recently, is Journey to Foundation. Because I don't think I slammed it in my review, but I basically said it wasn't a game for me. I thought it was okay, but I kind of felt like I was a fan of the TV show, but from the comments I got was people were like, well, you haven't read the books, so you don't know what you're talking about. And I never ever said that. I know about the books. My dad used to do a lot of sci-fi. And when I told him about Journey Foundation, he told me the whole fucking story in the car. Like I had him on a hands-free, and he just told me all this stuff that I didn't know because of I kind of knew what they showed me in the TV show. But I think what people forget is when they watch a review is I'm actually happy when someone else likes something I don't. I've not got a problem with it, but I think they see it as a challenge to tell me, well, I actually like it. And I'm like, that's brilliant. I wanted to like it because I've just spent 5, 6, 7, 8 hours playing it. So I would have rather played a game I enjoyed for 7 to 8 hours. But I think, Wes, you hit it on hit the nail on the head earlier on Virtual Strangers earlier. Like that, I mean, you said you felt it got going at a certain point, and I played it.
It takes it a while though. It takes
a
a long time for it to get going.
Yeah, I played it for such a long time, dude, and I didn't. Hold on, what's this? Joe, GT, you should disclose when you are posting sponsored content on your channel. I did, and I have. And if you click on it, it says sponsored. It does say sponsored, mate. It was sponsored. But
That's why it feels like it was sponsored, because it was sponsored.
Yeah, it was sponsored. But everything I said the news they wanted me to say about new maps, new skins. But I love Pavlov, so I mean,
You've been saying that way before you made that video,
mate.
so.
I'll tell you,
Yo, Pavlov is amazing.
I
You can't argue that. That's
an easy one to get behind.
Yep.
Exactly. That's that. I've hold on. Have I lost you guys? No, I haven't. I've lost. I say lost money. I've turned down so many sponsorships in the last month or so. So I'm very happy with what I churn out of sponsored content. And thank you for watching it. I appreciate that. But yeah.
Another honorable mention for this year, the Light Brigade.
Oh,
Excellent game.
fantastic.
On all platforms, and upcoming Quest 3 update. I can't wait to see how that turns out. But definitely one of my favorites of the year.
Absolutely brilliant game. Like, and I think that threw a shadow on Foglands for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, like a big
Yeah.
shadow. So,
Yeah, Foglands was looking like it was going to be very similar, but better, and it wasn't. And not that Foglands was terrible, but Foglands was very average, while the Light Brigade was very good.
yeah, everything. Like, I can't even think about in Foglands. I can't remember any of the music. As Light Brigade, there's certain levels I get to, and I look forward to hearing the music because there's just so much in that game that I really enjoy. You got 5 different classes. Like, if anyone said to me, Foglands versus Light Brigade, it would be Light Brigade all day long. Like, that game is stellar in VR in general, not just in a roguelike sense. It's a fantastic game.
Man,
It's so
I still
good
haven't
that-
played that game. Still haven't played it.
What? You
Really?
haven't
You haven't
played it?
played the Light Brigade? What the
Wow.
fuck?
It's been
it's
the most
it's
impossible
so-
key for me to get for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so good that it pissed Dee off when she played Foglands, because she loves Light Brigade so much. And I told her, I heard it's like Foglands. She came out, or Foglands is like Light Brigade. She is nothing like Light Brigade outside of the cards, were her exact words.
Yeah.
Foglands has potential still. I think it could be saved if they. That's one of the ones where I just wish they would have went to somebody and went like, hey, you know, if you guys really know a lot about VR, help me with our game, because you know they're that close. Like, I think if they changed a handful of things that are probably easy fixes, they could have made the game way better. And you know, with a roguelite, you have to have a good hook. You have to have good gameplay. You have to have good flow. Otherwise it becomes monotonous. And that's why people hate roguelites sometimes, is because the hook isn't there. And then it becomes like a chore. You're like the live, die, repeat thing. It doesn't, instead of becoming just a one more run type of game, now it's like, I'm not going through that again. I don't want to start over again.
I also found in Foglands that even though it tries to tell your story, you never feel part of it. Like, you start going down in a lift and you go, and for a game that's going to demand a lot of patience, it really does need to try and pull you in a bit more, other than just throwing you into a scene where a guy dies and then you're talking to the guy who's death and then some girl, and that's it. And then you're on your way, and then you start doing these levels and you see the exact same corridor every time it regenerates another level. And I thought that was really weird. I kept thinking, like, is this broken? Like, why do I keep seeing the exact same corridor? And it is exactly the same. You go in and then you turn like left, then you turn right, and then it does another level. And you're thinking, is this right? Is it meant to be like this? But when you was on Virtual Strangers earlier, I tried to find out if you guys had seen any reviews of the flat screen version, because the game is actually a flat game as well. And I kind of thought to myself, is this the sort of game that would have just like not had any hype at all if it wasn't VR? Is it because it was on PSVR 2 and it was VR?
Well, you got to think, man. They only announced this thing had traditional support, 2 weeks before they launched it? Like, this isn't something that they've marketed as a traditional flat game at all. They've just pretty much shadow dropped it for those people. And I don't think anyone knows that it came out in that world.
Yeah. We got someone who hated Light Brigade. Fifth, he said he hated Light Brigade. So yeah.
Wow, hated. That's
But
rough.
he did follow up with saying he's having fun playing Cactus, less quality game, but having more fun.
I need to.
Oh,
I
it-
need to play Cactus.
It just
To
shows
each
you.
their own.
Yeah, it's exactly. It just shows you that everybody's got different tastes, and just because somebody loves or hates a game doesn't mean that it's not good or that it's bad or that Cactus isn't good. Because we were even saying that last night on the show, right? Sometimes simple games can just be even more fun than other games. It's about that gameplay loop.
This can't be the same
Gazzlers
that I
is
played.
amazing.
No, it's a new one. There's a new Cactus Cowboy game that
Oh,
just
okay.
came out on multiple platforms, and we've got it in our library, Eric and Roots. I haven't played it yet, but it is there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take a look. But I mean, to Skiba's point, I mean, that's why I like Gazzlers. It's
Yeah.
a simple game, and it doesn't have to be. The original question: what games do we go in because we think they're fun? You know what I mean? And those are games that when I hear somebody say fun, like those to me are not like the games that I feel like I have to like are a big, huge campaign. Like I feel like I have to work at, or I feel sometimes can be a little daunting of having to get back into and do them. Fun games for me are games that I can jump into at any time, like GT said with Dungeons of Eternity or Gazzlers or Mother Gunship Forge or any of these games is games to me.
Zombieland.
Zombieland, perfect one. Any of these games where I feel like I can just jump in anytime for an hour, have an absolute blast, and then get back out and don't feel like I need to have a commitment to get in and out of it. Like, we talked, if you want to say, Resident Evil 8, yeah, Resident Evil 8 is an amazing game and it'll probably win game of the year. But to me, I don't know if I've had the most fun in that game because a lot of it to me is, especially with what we do, it feels like commitment to me, and it feels like it's daunting. I have to get back into it. Like I have to get back into it to finish it. And I know it's a long game, and it's like I don't have maybe 3 or 4 hours to jump in, and then I have to, and if I don't jump back in for a period of time, maybe I lose the story in my head. That can happen with games like Foundation, where it's such a deep story that then all of a sudden you feel like, okay, I've already gone like a month without playing it. I don't feel like I can pick it back up. Now I've got to go back to the beginning so I can get the story back in my head. And I don't know, if I'm just looking for fun games, those are those palate cleansing in and out games are the ones I would look for.
Bumper.
Thumper is another good one. That's a
Yeah.
great one.
Neodori Drift is actually my little sleeper hit of an indie game, and it's like
What is it?
it's called Neodori Drift. It's
Ooh.
actually a flat, kind of cell shaded. What graphic? I think it's like Outrun with a certain type of style graphics. It's actually on Steam, and it's quite a popular game on Steam. And this guy made a VR version of it. It's an official game, but it only got an app lab. And that is, and it's just a point-to-point game. It's nothing really that special, but there's tons of tracks, tons of cars to unlock. And that is one of my favorite little games. If I don't know what I'm playing, I think, I'll stick that on, see if I can do a couple more tracks, unlock some cars. And yeah, but it's one of those things where I've got to be careful on what I put on the channel now in particular, because if I always put on the games that I know no one else would care about, like 100%, I seriously think no one would care if I played that game. There's no point in making a video on it, but I did make a short on it, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, thank you! Like, I found this game," and it kind of makes you think the chicken and the egg scenario. If I made a video about a game that no one's heard about, would loads of people watch it because they haven't heard about it, or they not care? I don't know.
It depends. If the game's good, then it needs to be talked about, right? Because maybe people don't know about it, but
I just don't think many people would. I don't think it's a game for a lot of people. That's the whole point.
I
of it.
gotcha.
Have you guys played the Gran Turismo update? Because Mike was just like telling me about it.
Oh,
today.
I need to do that.
He said it's incredible. Like
What did they update? I mean, what was the update about?
I can't remember everything he said, but it's not just. I mean, I've only really heard about the snow level that's in there now, but he was telling me all sorts of stuff that's updated and that, and he was like, it's one of the best VR experiences you can have.
Yeah, that game gets regular content updates, and it's among the class of VR. Like it's a game. This kind of goes back to what Masher was saying a moment ago. Like this is a game that I haven't played enough because it is a commitment. It's something that takes time and something that you have to play regularly. So I often just overlook it and don't go into it. But in terms of just polish and overall quality, I mean, Gran Turismo 7 is pretty much unmatched in the VR catalog. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I see a lot of people now arguing about which headset's gonna rule them all. Quest
One
3.
headset to rule them all.
Yeah,
That's
it
kind of
just
funny because I actually went to Target over the weekend, and they changed all of their like electronics section to prepare for the holidays, and I was kind of shocked because not only did they update their Quest area to have like a Quest 3 on demo for display, they actually have a PSVR 2, like a dummy unit, like actually a whole setup for that. And I was not expecting that,
That's cool.
to be honest.
Nice,
So,
nice.
it was interesting.
there was definitely more of a push with the original PSVR than PSVR 2 in terms of that stuff. I remember seeing
Yeah.
all sorts of demos and press PlayStation doing all sorts of press days. You know, there was a giant PSVR in London, like a massive headset that people went inside and played VR games. Like that was like
Cool.
that's the sort of marketing stuff that they would normally do behind something. As PSVR 2 has been a kind of a quiet launch in that way. And I know when I said this on Twitter, I immediately got, "What are you talking about, dude? We've had Ozzy Osbourne and that other girl, can't remember her name, some girl playing it." And I was like, but in both of those videos, dude, they never even turned the headset on. Like, you can see it. The light isn't on. It's not turned on. They're sitting there going, whoa, for nothing. It just doesn't work for me, you know? But yeah, I'm pleased that that's the sort of marketing they feel they need to do. They are doing something. So yeah. Good stuff. Where are we
I will
Yeah.
say, I do want to add one more thing because there was also a couple. They were looking through the electronics section and they kind of skipped over the meta just because of the PlayStation brand. The girl in the couple was like, "Oh, PlayStation," and that was pretty much it. They were just like looking at the PlayStation VR just because of that. So brand has some wild powers still.
Yeah, of
in
course.
this life. Yeah.
Dude, I still remember the first time I saw the iToy in a shop. And it was like, and I remember seeing someone using it, not knowing what it was. And then you see PlayStation and you automatically assume that it's going to be fun and it's going to be quite high quality. Like, it's not just going to be rubbish. It's going to be something worth at least finding out about. And I loved iToy, dude. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about that. Basically, Sony was doing a lot of the spatial computing and AR stuff during the PlayStation 3 generation with that PlayStation 9. Right in that same period, we had Nintendo with the 3DS that was doing
Yep.
legitimate AR experiences on that handheld, and it just kind of fizzled out and went away. And now here we are, like 15 years later, and the stuff's coming back. Only now it's in the headset, right? And with like color pass through, and we're actually starting to see the potential of these technologies.
Yeah, I was going to say the triangulator. I was just going to say that the Kinect for Xbox, like, wasn't that one of the most highest selling peripherals of all time?
Yeah, but they cheated though because
They bundled
in the
that.
box
Yeah,
and they counted
it was
that.
it was a force
Mm.
bundle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was no real software for it.
Yeah,
it's-
nobody used it really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was another
Work.
one though that I saw a lot of interest. I remember going to a game show and there was just queues and queues for people to play. I think it was Connected Ventures, I think was the main title for the lifetime of Connect. And it was like PSVR Worlds. It was a multiple game demos inside it. And it was fun. I remember getting people around to play it and stuff, but after that it wasn't. You never did anything with it apart from wish you didn't have it plugged in.
Do you guys know who bought the company that developed the technology for Kinect?
Mark Zuckerberg.
That
It was Apple, and that's why we have Face ID.
Oh, wow.
Same technology except minimized, and yep, pretty wild.
There you go. For that man, it wasn't a waste of time. That's great. Just everyone else's money. I'm glad people are enjoying it. iToy was fantastic. And yeah, I thought Wes brought up a really good point about AR. I used to love AR on the Nintendo 3DS. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, it was still my favorite handheld of all time is Nintendo 3DS. It still amazes me what the thing is capable of all these years later.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I mean, it's got glasses free 3D, and it works, and it's legit 3D. I mean, that's crazy when you consider how old that thing is. That's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, my son's still got a 3DS actually. I haven't used it for a while. What I was going to say, there was a game that we haven't spoke about that I wanted to talk about that was coming out, and I can't remember what it was now. I don't know if we mentioned it or not. Damn my tired brain.
Oh no, I'll mention that Genotype, which was our Quest game of the month. Spoiler alert. Got a Quest 3 update today.
You got
Like,
how much of that have you played then? Like, have you played it a lot?
Yeah, I played. I think I'm getting close to halfway through the game.
And you enjoying it?
Really good.
I'm loving it, man. It's great. It's one of my favorite games I've played this year.
Oh god,
Me too.
It's so.
I liked it.
I
I liked it too, and then the developer pinged me and he's like, "Got a Quest 3 version coming out," and I stopped playing it because I wanted to see like
That's
I wanted
exactly
to play
what
the
Wes
rest
said.
with the
Yeah.
with the higher end
Same
graphics.
here. Out
Yeah.
today. Out today.
Yep.
Just like literally launched a couple hours ago.
It gives you a cool like BioShock kind of feel to the game. Like
Yeah.
it's that kind of
Yeah,
narrative like
little bit, yeah.
gameplay.
I'll check it
So
out tomorrow.
GT, oh,
You
I was
haven't
gonna say
played
you
it yet
don't
at all,
like it?
GT?
I played. So this is the curse of playing games early. I played it quite early on to give some feedback and stuff, and it was okay. Like, it was better than I expected, but it didn't hook me. And I genuinely thought it's going to be a game that I probably won't play. Is it on the official store? It is, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I legitimately think it has. I mean, it may not win, but I think it's good enough to be talked about in the Game of the Year category for the Quest for standalone.
Wow.
And it won the poll. It won our poll last night. Like, I expected Dungeons of Eternity to run away with the Game of the Month polling because so many people are so enthusiastic about it. But when we put it up for a vote, I mean, Genotype won. People are digging it. It's good.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Great game.
I'm gonna have to play it now. I'm gonna have to.
Good. You should. It's awesome.
Damn, man. Damn. Are you guys has the honeymoon period of MR left you guys yet? Have you kind of got used?
I haven't been doing a lot of MR lately, but it's more, I think, because the time that I've had to play games was spent on preparing for this Game of the Month conversation that we had yesterday. I had to stick to things that we were going to be debating because there were so many games that came out this month. I had to play The Seventh Guest, and I had to play Foundation and Ghostbusters and Dungeons of Eternity and Genotype, and I mean there was just so many of them that I don't have a ton of time to play games, so I just really haven't had time to get back in MR. I think I did another run in the Drop Dead the Cabin because it's just so good and I enjoy it.
That is probably the most replayable one out of them all, I think, apart from the Tracks game. Like, I really like that car game. I can't remember the name of it now, but there's a game.
Postermania or no, the
Tiny,
other one.
it was Tiny Tracks or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the name of it. I wish I could, but
Smash Drums. Don't sleep on Smash Drums MR. It's probably the best MR experience it's so
I keep hearing good things about it.
It's so good.
I didn't mind it. I mean, I played Smash Drums. I don't know. It didn't amaze me. I wanted it to. I preferred City Riders.
Play the classic version or the new mode. When you put the drum kit, when you actually have a drum kit sitting in your living room, and you're banging away on the drum kit, and you're like zapping the walls, and the walls are exploding, and things are falling off the ceiling, dude, it just blows my mind. For me, it's so much fun. I really, really like it.
That's awesome.
You know what, GT? Last time we were on here talking about MR, we were talking about that roller coaster game that you played, and I informed you that you can shrink down and get into the roller coaster and ride your tracks. One of the questions that was asked during that is when you use MR, when you shrink down, does it automatically scale up the MR so that you're riding through your room? And the answer at that time was no, but guess what? They've updated it.
No way.
While it doesn't give you like the pass through, what it does is it will take your your room setup, your depth scan of your room, and it will create terrain based on that. So you'll go over a mountain that's the shape of your couch, or you'll go through a valley that is between your couch and your coffee table.
That's fantastic.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Rad. That's super. That's so cool. That sounds awesome.
That is really
Well, think about
cool.
this. How cool would it be for Skiva, for your daughter or something? Either she builds you one or vice versa, and then the other person go. Like, I love that kind of stuff with my kids when they were little. I just think it's
that's
super cool.
It's a great idea, actually. I think we might take you up on that.
Yeah.
Here's something that I guess only Mash might know. Fifth with the $5 donation, thank you ever so much, says his first handheld was called Merlin. Does that ring any bells?
A Merlin.
Merlin was like it was like a calculator almost type of thing. Yeah, Merlin was pretty cool, man.
I remember something similar to that. Yeah.
Was it something you could program your own games or?
Yeah, it was like math games, wasn't it?
It was
like math games and stuff like that.
Who doesn't love math games though, right?
But the handhelds back then, there was actually a lot of handhelds back then, but they were like individual games. So it wasn't like a Game Boy where you have many games. There was like a football handheld or a Pong handheld. I mean, like I remember there was a football handheld, a football game. It was basically just red dots on a screen, and you controlled the dot moving, side to side as like you're running down the field. So there's been handhelds for a long, long time. They were just, basically one-offs and no graphics and terrible, but they were fun, man. I mean, I remember growing up and just doing, playing them constantly. Very simple things. That's why it blows my mind to see where we are now. Like, I've been a gamer all my life. Like I grew up with gaming, you know what I mean? Where I was probably the first generation that did grow up with gaming. Like the generation before me didn't understand or didn't know what gaming was, but to see where we started from, like I've been there from the beginning. So for me to see where we came from to see where we are now, absolutely blows my mind. And like a lot of people, younger people don't know, like they know a world of the 90s where they already had, Nintendo, and they already had PlayStation, and they had 3D graphics. And so the leap for them is not as mind, bending or jaw dropping. For me, like I remember playing Pong originally and going, "Oh my God, this is freaking amazing!" And now I'm going and playing a game like Half-Life Alyx, in this game, and that huge jump it's astronomical to have that big of a jump in that short in my lifetime in that short of a span of time. So, yeah, I'm old. I don't know.
Pong is our loading screens now.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy. You are right about the handhelds. Is it Watch and Go or Go and Watch, the Nintendo ones?
It was Game and Watch.
Game and Watch, that was it. And that was like just a little LCD thing that had like 3 sprites, and you'd move it and there'd be like multiple sprites. Is that what you kind of mean, Eric? Like that?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do remember that stuff.
But even in the 80s, I remember they had little arcade machines. So that you had like a Miss Pac-Man cabinet, but it was like this big. It was made by ColecoVision, I think. And they took all the famous arcade cabinets and they shrunk them down, like Donkey Kong or, Pac-Man or, several of them.
In the 80s?
In the 80s, yeah.
Wow.
Late 70s, early 80s. It looked like an arcade cabinet shrunk down to about this big, and it had little, controllers on it, just like you would see in an arcade machine with buttons. And you could play Donkey Kong, and you could play, Pac-Man, and just some of the Defender. I'm completely into those retro games now because I'm buying arcade cabinets now. Like I'm into this Arcade 1-Up, which is these replica arcade cabinets. I've just bought Joust. I just bought Gauntlet, or not Gauntlet, but Golden Axe, and I have a Golden Tee coming.
Golden Axe.
I found one.
So cool.
Yeah,
those
Galaga, bro.
I have Galaga. I found one here locally. I found one locally. A guy was selling one for $200, Galaga machine, and I'm like, I'm all over it. I went and got it.
I love Galaga, bro. It's one of
What-
my
what-
favorites.
I built a full size arcade cabinet and put 40,000 games on it, and it's ridiculous.
That's awesome.
It's an 8-foot tall arcade machine. That's why you had to build
It is. It is 8 foot tall, actually.
Yeah,
Custom.
that's what Mainfan did as well. He built a like a MAME cabinet that has like every freaking game in history on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have the ball for Golden Tee. I have like all the different arcade schemes to it, and then I have USB ports on the front and then with versions of each console's controller that you can plug in, and the coin mech even registers in the MAME emulator, so you can put
Wow.
Yeah, that's so
if you
cool.
want.
That is
This
super
arcade one
cool.
up now is even doing light gun stuff. So they have like
Cool.
T2 light gun machine. They have the original Time Crisis. That's they just came out
No,
with it.
they
It
don't.
just launched in August. Yeah, they have a Time Crisis
No.
machine. They have racing ones now with they have Ridge Racer, and they have Fast and the Furious one. I'm hooked on these arcade one
Yeah,
up
but
now
yeah,
because
no,
like it's
no.
like a whole thing now because people trade them. People buy them and then they trade them and they upgrade. So I'm like all over it now trying to find good deals, and it's super cool.
Oh my god, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, GT, you gonna get one?
Yeah, I have a
Time-
Mortal Kombat coming also. My wife for our anniversary bought me a Mortal
Do you know
Kombat
how much,
30th
though?
30th anniversary.
Do you know
edition.
how much?
Dude, that's awesome.
Do you know how much Time Crisis the one-up arcade machine is? How much is it where you
I
are?
bet
Eric?
Mash knows. I bet
It's
Mash knows.
it's $699 US.
That is just crazy money. Bro.
Yeah, but you can find them like less expensive. So the light gun ones are new and they're very expensive. But I mean, they have ones that are not like those that are less expensive. Like the Galaga one, I said I picked it up for $250 with a stool. It's got a matching stool that says Galaga on and everything. It's awesome. You can find them for $300-400. Ollie's, Kohl's, all these bargain outlets, they actually have them. They sell them all the time and they put them on sale. Walmart. They put them on sale. You'll see them for like $100, $150, $200, but normally they go for like 400. And then they have these new XL ones, which are even bigger. And then the light gun one, they have like Buck Hunter, and they have like I said, T2, Terminator 2, and then the Time Crisis.
My my one and only arcade cabinet is Street Fighter 2 from Arcade One Up,
Ooh.
which has all the games. And Street Fighter 2 is like a massive game for me. But to take you back to VR again, I think one of the biggest releases of recent times, in a way, should have been Ghostbusters, and it's been very mixed received. Like, what are your guys' thoughts, if you've played it, of Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord? Yeah.
Okay. I think there's a lot of missed opportunity. I mean, MASH nailed it when we talked about it on our show. There's nothing about Ghostbusters in it. At least not from originally outside of the car that you don't get to ride in. Like, I just feel like I feel like I wasn't real. I'm kind of in that atmosphere, but I'm not. Like, there should have been something that like tied it in, like made you feel like they didn't have to have Bill Murray's voice in there or have him in there, but having some kind of a nod to the OG stuff, for at least for the people that are playing it that know what Ghostbusters is, right? So
Yeah, I hear that.
Do you think that it might have been like a different game and then it was pitched to Sony and they're like, hey, you can reskin this a little bit?
No, it's
Yeah.
not that different. While they don't like lean into the classic Ghostbusters movie like stuff, it does have that vibe of like the real Ghostbusters cartoon. I think most of the enemies in the game kind of fit, not all of them, but most of them kind of fit within that vibe. There's the music and the kind of atmosphere that they build feels pretty natural. And then some of the imagery, like Root said, the Ecto One, and obviously the equipment that you're using is all pretty well done, and the uniforms. So yeah, I don't think that it's like a completely different thing that they just branded Ghostbusters, but I do agree with there's certainly a lot of missed opportunities that they could have taken to really play up the fan service element of it.
Yeah, they probably should have named this game Missed Opportunity VR.
Yeah.
Like it's I went in there and I played it and I had fun with friends, right? I had fun, but there's nothing that makes me want to go back in and play. You know, there's an upgrade system that's kind of half-assed, right? Like I one of the things that kept me in after the fall for 500 plus hours was continually upgrading my guns and doing, you know, and making them feel better and making it so I can kill, you know, zombies even faster and hordes of them. But like this was just like, I don't know, it just felt clunky. And there's like, what happened to crossing your streams? Like, what, that's a missed opportunity. You should be able to like
Yeah.
cross your streams and like take something out really quick or cause some kind of explosion. Or there's none of the ghosts are from the movies or from the shows or anything are in there. Like, why did they get that IP if they weren't going to use any of the stuff from the IP? I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
it's just very bizarre. And being End Dreams too, like you just expect them to knock it out of the park. What an amazing studio they are, right? They just keep hitting home runs. And then this one was just like, you know, just a foul ball. I don't really know what happened here.
That's what I thought too. I thought it was a complete, you know, swing and a miss. Like, and it needed to be a home run. Like, and here's where, like, I haven't really liked the game from the beginning, but I wanted to step back because there were people that did like it. So I watched GT's video the other day, and he actually, I thought what you did was kind of brilliant. You went through and said, I can tell you what I can say about this game, but let me tell you what everybody else is saying about it. You went through and you read about a whole bunch of reviews, and I loved it because if you see all of these different reviews and you see 50% of the people hate it and 50% of the people love it, guess what? That's a swing and a miss. This needed to be a home run, and half the people are returning it or hate it. So if that's the case, that's a big miss here on a big IP. You can't we couldn't afford to be that divided, like to where there's that many people that hate it. This needed to be a big game for virtual reality and for In Dreams too, because this is not In Dreams. And there's just some things that they could have done that would have been way better, that would have made everybody happy, and they didn't do it.
One thing I wanted to point out was because a lot of people were leaning into basically downplaying Ghostbusters because it was on 3.5 out of 5 on Quest. And with Quest Store, it's notorious for being completely misleading and overly positive because they want you to use these 25% codes and stuff. But literally, I was going through, basically on the Quest Store, you can vote something as helpful. And the more helpful it is, the higher up the ranking it is. But that actually is also dependent on whether it's positive. So you could find a more helpful comment lower down the list because it had a lower rating, which doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you give a game 3 out of 5 and you give an honest review, and 160 odd people say this is helpful, like this is the best, this is to, you know what I mean? That would actually be further down the list because it wasn't a 5-star. And yeah, there's some people on there like they're proud that they play a game for 10 minutes, and they're like, yeah, I play games for 10 minutes and I decide if it's a good game or not in those 10 minutes, and this is a good game. And I'm like, how can you be actually proud of saying that? Like, how can you say that? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. There was a whole host, and thank you, Mash, because someone else said to me on my Discord it was one of the best videos they've seen in ages. So I was really pleased, even though the video hasn't done very well. I'm glad you enjoyed it, mate. I thought
It was good.
It was a different approach, you know. It was a different approach.
Again, because I know that it's not my kind of game, so sometimes I know that I get into when I'm reviewing games, if I don't particularly like it, then I think it's a bad game, and I was like, well, I thought that your approach to it gave a good, because some people are saying this is a good game, some people are liking it, so it confused me as to why I don't like it as much, or at all, and I just thought it was a good approach to go and look at I mean, if we're that split. I mean, there's a problem if we're that split. If there's that many people that don't like it, that's a problem. There's serious issues with this game, and that's not what you normally see out of In Dreams games. There's just so much sloppiness here. That's not In Dreams. That's weird.
That's what
it seems unfinished, right? It seems like
like
there are like bugs and jank here that you typically don't see in an In Dreams title.
Agreed.
For such an important title.
And it's the DLC, mate. The DLC wow me up the
The
most.
price is out of control. With
It's
this
ridiculous. And I had some people like tell me, how can you use Mario Kart 8 as an example? Why can't I? They've asked for the same amount of money and they're giving you double the amount of content. And yet
Right.
with Ghostbusters, it feels like these ideas, like the Slimer thing, would have been actually, it sounds like a very good thing to have put in the main game. If I'd have played this game and I was like, guys, we're missing something that makes this Ghostbusters, and they went, well, we've actually got like this Slimer mode, but we're going to sell it separately. I'll be like, fuck no. Put it in here now. It needs the game needs it now. There is no single player. It needs to be in there. There's got to be more than what this is at the moment.
So
This is
Vince
like a
Virtua
$55
says Wes was into it, right? I had fun with it. You know, it's not really a game of the month type of game. Like, it's not great, but I did enjoy my time in it. And at the time that I said that, it was kind of a big thing because everyone was shitting on it at the time. It's an average game, but I went into it with my family. I went into it with Eric and Roots, and I enjoyed my time and I had fun with it. My biggest concern outside of the jank is I don't know how long it's going to keep me. Like, you know, I'll probably go into it a couple more times with my family and see if maybe some new stuff unlocks. But this seems like something, if they don't add new gameplay modes into it, it's going to get stale pretty quickly. But yeah, I enjoyed it more than most people did.
Would you say though, to get $55 is what they're asking for you to get the full experience
for the deluxe edition? That's ridiculous. I think 35 is overpriced for it already. 55 is just nuts.
This is a $14 game at best. $14.99 is probably where it need to be, or go free to play if you want to sell all your shit. So it's a multiplayer game only. Like, if there's no campaign here, like,
this is the bit. When did multiplayer become the main part of a game? Like,
right, that's all there is.
Yeah, right.
Like, I would, if there was a full-blown campaign and then the multiplayer was extra, I would pay $20 for this game or $25 for this game. But if you're giving me a game there that sucks, unless you're doing multiplayer, it actually sucks. It's not fun in any way whatsoever. And you're going to charge me that kind of money? I mean, there's free-to-play games out there that you can play right now that are only multiplayer, and then you just have to go buy their cosmetic if you think it's a good enough game to support. So the problem is they don't think their game is good enough to support here, so there's no way they would ever, and they're going to charge you for the license. They're going to charge you for a license for an IP when they don't have the license nor the IP in the game. There's not one mention of Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, anywhere, and then none of the ghosts are there. The ghosts that are there make no sense to me. There's like piranhas and like headless like
pufferfish. There's like a pufferfish alien, isn't there?
I knew we wouldn't make it through it without talking about the piranhas.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't understand it. Like, they look more like aliens than ghosts to me. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make it.
Already really, from my understanding, it's already really difficult to pitch to companies like if you're an indie studio and you're working in VR, you're like a VR only studio, to pitch these big companies like, hey, we would love to license your IP and like attach it to our well-made games or whatever. And then you hear stuff like this, that like the executives will be like, okay, give us examples of a licensed game that succeeds in the VR realm that makes us even care to license it. When you have games like this, that sounds to be less than, or maybe subpar from what I understand. It is pretty damaging for the other players who can't license things and probably could do a good job if they did get that licensed material. So rough.
Yeah.
Let's hope the Aliens game from Survios just rocks.
Yeah, because everybody keeps getting so excited about it, like Onslaught didn't fucking happen.
I was gonna say, I hope it's better than Survios' last IP title they came out with.
That's my thing. And I mean, we grew.
There was a higher up person from Survios that recently did an interview, and they started off the interview by talking about Aliens. And you know, we have all kind of imagined that this game would be your typical Survios game, and it would probably be a fast-paced arcadey action game. But according to this guy, this game is meant to be a spiritual sequel to Aliens Isolation.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's encouraging.
We'll see. Well, I remember them saying all sorts of stuff about Onslaught and how it was going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And granted, that was That was then, this is now, and they could absolutely do a good version, good game. I'm just very reluctant. We grew up in days where, like, when do you guys remember any movie games that were good?
I've
Like
got
every
one.
game that was movies was usually sucked, right?
I've got
Usually.
one, and it is from Cevallos. It was Westworld.
Yeah.
No, that was
It was-
the
that
that was
was good.
it.
That
the
was
best
good.
one.
Creed.
That
They
was
did
good.
good with Creed, right? Didn't they do
Yeah,
Creed?
Creed was
They
good.
did do
Yeah.
Creed, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of Creed. I wasn't the
Creed's
biggest
alright.
fan of almost
Creed's good.
anything, everything else that they
You got
did.
Zombieland
their
VR
racing
as
thing.
well?
That was
Zombieland?
good.
Yeah, I love that, and that was one of the ones I didn't think was going to be good. Remember when
That was
Zombieland
probably
first came out?
that's my
We made
favorite.
fun of
those.
that game when it first came. We're like, "What the hell is this?" We
Well,
saw the trailer
Zombieland,
for the original
Zombieland's
Zombieland.
not a serious game though.
No,
It's
no,
not-
No,
it's
no,
not
no.
from service.
But
No.
we're just talking about IP games that.
Oh,
were,
IPs in general?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a good question.
It's tough. GoldenEye. We're there. We're getting
Nah.
there. We're getting these games. So
Batman. I mean, there was a Batman game
Batman
back
Arkham
in the day
Asylum.
that was good in its time, and the Iron Man VR game was good. in
Yeah,
my
Iron Man was
opinion.
good.
Really good.
So it
Yeah.
does work. That we've gone
does.
full circle. We've gone from saying it doesn't work to absolutely coming up with
It-
about 10
and-
games saying it does
and
work.
by the
can
way,
work.
By the way, what arguably the greatest VR game of all time is an IP game, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners.
Mhm.
True. Right.
I know, Brad. I think Brad's right though. I mean, sometimes these games can do more damage than they can good. Like when they announce these big IPs, I'm excited for the IP and I'm excited for what it can bring to virtual reality. But they scare the shit out of me because if they don't do them right, they actually it hurts. Like I was rooting for Ghostbusters. So you know, even though I don't like it, it's not like I didn't root for it. Like I wanted it to be good. Like I wanted it to be great. Like I wanted to go in and have lots of fun and like tell everybody to go buy it. But when they fall on their face, I mean, we can't say it's good because we are afraid. Like that's so much what we're afraid now. Like everybody's afraid to say a game is bad because we don't want to hurt the developers' feelings because they won't ever make another VR game again. That's not the way this works. We have to call it out.
I still think
Some developers shouldn't make VR games anymore. Let's just be honest. Like if their games they keep putting out suck, then just get out of the way and let some other ones come in and make the games better. That's the reality. It's sink or swim. And if it's getting harder for the whole scheme of developers out there, you know, that the games are getting better and some of them are gonna get left behind. And it sucks, but I'm looking forward to it because I don't like shitty games. And I don't like shitty games on amazing IPs that make VR look bad. Like we're fucking scrambling trying to do everything we can for VR, and then people come barreling through with Ghostbusters and just trash VR. You know, like
barreling through.
it's very hard to convince. We have these flat gamers like making fun of VR, rolling their eyes, and then we have this happen, and it's like. You know, it's not the end of the world, but it's like, I just want to have something that we can point to that they're like, oh my God, like I have to get, like Alex is the only thing that I can think of that really got under people's skin that they couldn't play. That's
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. That is the number one. Like that is the number one game ever in VR that everyone knew about and everyone got jealous they couldn't play it. Like
And we need more of that. We need them to look at VR and say, oh my God, I have to experience what you're experiencing. Then they get in and they're like, wow, this is amazing. Right now, there's almost no draw for a flat gamer to come to VR. And like you were saying a couple weeks ago, GT, this has been one of the best games for years for flat gaming that in decades. And so like, what's going to draw them into VR right now? Nothing. And we need them in here. So.
The triangulator has invoked the name of Marvel Powers United VR.
True.
There's a great example of a polished game from a quality studio that is just kind of the example of missed opportunity, right? Like when you look at what was there, it worked well. There was a large cast of characters. It looked good. It sounded good. It played good. But what the game wasn't what everyone wanted from a Marvel game in VR. And for that reason, it not only was it kind of looked over, it was very underrated, even still to today. That game doesn't get the credit it deserves for what it actually was because it could have been so much more.
I blame the intro. The intro
real-
was so good, and that's what you expected was that intro, and then all of a sudden it went into what it was, which was good, just not what we thought it was going to be, right?
How about Transformers VR? How damaging was that?
Yeah. Yeah, especially for someone like UGT that's like a huge fan, right? That must have been a big letdown. I think you're muted, R.
It just no. I'm just
Oh,
that completely. As soon as I think I realised from a trailer, a bit early on. Well, because it's weird. Once you like make trailers or you get involved in filming VR in some way, when you start watching games, you can kind of get a good feeling of what this game might be actually about. And yeah, Ghostbusters ended up just being an on the rails shooter, and it was a purely VR experience, arcade experience, and it wasn't good at all. Really, it was a real shame. I was excited, but in a way that hurt to me. That hurts a brand. That's what it does. You know, like you said, like maybe in an arcade it would work. You know, but for a home release, it wasn't good. So
I was okay. I was okay with it being a rail shooter. That really wasn't my my beef with it. My beef was blurry visuals. It was a lack of diversity in the enemies and repetitive gameplay, like super repetitive, even more so than you would expect from a wave shooter. So that was kind of my issues with it.
I've got one more. Tarzan.
oh yeah.
Well, look,
boy.
Tarzan, and most people will tell you Tarzan wasn't that bad on PC. It was a terrible port on Quest and PlayStation. But
It's
I
better
mean, it
now,
was,
by the way.
yeah, it did get
They've
better.
improved
That's
it.
true. Not a great game, but certainly, you know, there was some fun to be had there in the original version of the game.
Yeah. We got Vivian in the chat. How you doing, Vivian? Good to see
What's
you.
up, Viv? Hey, what's going on, Vivian?
I haven't seen her for a while. Which is cool. Was that a Justice League game? No way.
Man, are you
No.
guys? I need to ask: are you guys having as much fun with Vampire Masquerade as I am?
Oh god.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
so
good.
definitely.
Man,
Brilliant game.
it was so much fun.
Brilliant game. Really
Yeah, I
good.
never thought that
It's
being
good.
a
I'm
vampire
happy.
in VR could be that good.
I'm happy for fast travel to finally just hit the nail on the head fully with the game, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's exceptionally good.
Yeah, I mean, I've still got some critiques of it, and they would have been the same critiques I think I would have given them when I play tested it like a year ago. But overall, yeah, they've delivered. It is a good game. It's a very good game, and I do really enjoy it. And I'm really pleased that it's out. Is it making a hit though? Like, is it making a splash? Are people singing about it? I mean, my reviews done actually quite well in terms of views, but I don't know how many people have seen it and gone, oh yeah, I'm going to buy it. Like, I don't hear the hype. You know, you hear about games, people talking about games.
Yeah, I don't know if it's converting. The people that are playing it are loving it for the most part, but you're right. It's not like you can tell with Dungeons of Eternity that everybody bought that fucking game.
Yeah.
It's not really like that yet with Vampire, but with that said, it's only been a few days, so it could certainly pick up momentum in the coming days and sell a bunch of copies. But people pretty universally like the game.
I think
So,
that about
hopefully-
Ghostbusters though. I think a lot of people outside of the community have bought Ghostbusters. Because
that's very possible.
I do think that every time I went into these lobbies, it was full of kids, and you know, and they were talking and they were having a go at each other, and you know,
Man, yeah. Well, think about it. If you went out and you bought a headset and you had never looked at a YouTube video, you had never done anything to educate yourself on what's good or not, and you put that headset on and you saw the Ghostbusters there,
yeah,
you're gonna buy that.
good trailer as
Just
well.
are.
Good trailer.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
MetaQuest 3 trailer in particular was really good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think Vampire Masquerade just needed a better name. You know, the actual name, it's like a paragraph long. It's hard to even tweet about it. Like just tweeting the name uses up my character count.
it does. Oh, it's like a fast travel thing they do now. They have to do it on everything. A Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets Wraith
Charming.
Afterlife, the Oblivion.
Wraith the Oblivion, half the life.
Yes, yeah. Don't forget the
Wraith
Oblivion.
Afterlife, yeah.
Apex
Go-
Constructs was probably the only one where they just went, yeah, that'd do.
Ghost Signal, a Stellaris game.
They do love it.
Seriously.
But that's that's another great game and a game that I never hear anyone talk about. So
Talked about it yesterday.
I mean,
No, I'm just fucking with you.
yeah, you know, I want people to Ghost Signal. I think is such a great game,
That's a really good game too. Yeah.
but
It's pretty good. It's not for everyone. But some people are gonna love it, and some people are gonna be bored with it.
yeah,
But it is better than it looks. The flat screen footage of the game does it no justice. Like
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
it makes it look like a really boring game that no one will like. But it's actually pretty addictive and fun once you put a little time into it.
yeah. Conservative Juggalo podcast has been he's been writing a lot of stuff today. I think we missed a super chat earlier, actually. From Rezal, dude, I'm so sorry. He put $20. Hot take. He says looking forward to Asgard's Wrath 2 over Assassin's Creed Nexus because he's looking forward to 40 hours plus of gameplay. I thought they quoted 60.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'm looking forward to Asgard's Wrath 2 more than Assassin's Creed. Not by a lot, but I think the high end potential for Asgard's Wrath 2 is higher than Assassin's Creed. I think, like most Assassin's Creed games, this game is going to be limited in scope with what it provides. Where Asgard's Wrath is just going to be endless depth and tons of different aspects to the gameplay. Aside from the fact that it's, supposedly a huge game that some people are even saying is larger than Skyrim. So,
Wow. Really?
yeah,
Bloody hell.
yeah, I've heard that. So yeah, I'm more excited for Asgard's Wrath 2, but I'm excited for both of them. Make no mistake.
I'm more excited for Assassin's Creed because I played it. And I think
There you go.
that's why. That's all. Like I played the original Asgard's Wrath, but as soon as I played Assassin's Creed, my hype was like they give me a little stamp of like, yeah, this is what you hoped it would be, and I'm like, yeah, good.
What if you've never played Assassin's Creed, the series, before? Will it translate to somebody that, like, would I get something out? I mean, obviously, the game, if the gameplay is fun, it's going to be fun, but will I lose something by not ever have stepped foot in one of those games?
I can't. It's hard. I mean, I can't really talk about that because I know Assassin's Creed, so part of my excitement was because I knew the IP and the idea of being Ezio and going into that game was the big draw. That was so yeah, I can't then take that away and wonder what the game would they even bring it to VR? I don't know. I don't know.
You got 10 days, Roots, and I'm pretty sure that we have some recent Assassin's Creed games in our Uplay libraries because they gave away during COVID. They gave away a few Assassin's Creed games. So maybe
I've never
spend this week.
I've
and
never played
some
any
time
of
in
them
it.
either.
Wow.
So
I haven't either.
I'm shocked.
I haven't either.
I'd never
never
played
appealed to
Uncharted
me.
before either.
Yeah,
you
right.
know, before I played it. So like I was a very Nintendo oriented person for a good portion of my gaming.
So you would lose your shit if Nintendo done a VR headset.
Oh yeah, I think it would, because I know what Nintendo can do and how they take hardware. They could probably take the Quest 2's hardware and make their games, because they're not graphically challenging, and they like the gameplay is what they focus on. That's what I love about it. And I love platformers, so I would definitely and not only the Donkey Kong Country, like think about all the IPs Nintendo has that would be amazing in VR. I'm sure we're probably 5 years away from it, but I can't wait.
Vince Virtua said, I pre-ordered Vampire and got a gold crossbow. Don't feel jealous.
He's actually better than me.
He's just flexing. Yeah, he's just flexing in the chat. I love it. That, again, Vampire, such a great game. And I really do hope people go and check out some reviews. If you're not sure about it, look it up. It's a good game. It actually does deliver in a way that I think many people don't expect. And it genuinely does give you in my review, I basically said I could have played all the gameplay I did. I could have played completely differently. Consciously, I knew the decisions I was making would mean I could revisit this game in a completely different way, because I forcibly played that game violently on purpose. And I loved it when Roots was talking about the demons that pull the people down to hell.
It's cool, right?
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, if you don't know about it, basically you can open up a portal. I can't remember what it's called, but you can basically like a shadow trap. And when someone walks across it, these arms come out of hell or something and drag people down. Yeah, it's pretty.
It's just clean too, man. You just throw that portal, and all of a sudden the guy's just gone, and he's not in your way anymore. It's easy.
The perfect crime.
Yes, perfect crime. There's no mess.
No.
Nothing left behind.
I'd like to say really quickly, Arizona Sunshine 2. That's
I
the
can't
one.
wait.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
freaking out over that game. I cannot wait.
Me too. I'm more excited for that than Assassin's Creed
Same.
or Asgard's Wrath.
Right. Again, I've played that one as well. So that's what I'm saying. I do believe these two games out of the ones that I know are coming, they're the only two I think that I've had early access to. And they both lived up to my expectations in the short time I played them.
That's exciting.
It's very exciting
That
for me.
is exciting.
Yeah.
And you know, the fact that it's a $50 game, not only does it not upset me, it actually makes me a little more excited to think we've got a $50 VR game.
Right.
coming,
That's
know?
worth it. And I'm just looking forward to I'm just glad that they're actually supporting PC VR. How many developers out there actually put the games
Not
out? for
many.
I was
PC?
going to say, that's what I'm
Not
seeing in the
many.
chat. A lot of people are like, why isn't Vampire on PC VR? Who knows?
Good question. It
Well,
looks
it's
damn
no
good. I mean,
problem.
it looks good in the standalone headset. I would really love to see what it could do with a beefy PC behind it,
Yeah.
or even the PlayStation. You know, those dark colors of the PlayStation, you know, would be pretty amazing with that backdrop of that game. But you know, we were talking about Vertigo, you know, with that, and I think today they said that there's a report out that they have a huge AAA IP that they're going to be working with coming up.
Wow.
They're kind of like coming back. Like I was worried about Vertigo for a little bit, man. They seem like they were kind of like reorganizing. I know they had let some people go, but it seems like all of a sudden now they've got a couple of good hits on their hands, and you know if they're getting another major IP, man, I just hope they do a really good job with it.
Well, you got to remember they did sign some games like a year ago, or with developers. One of them was Techland, and that would be Dead Island.
Yeah.
That'd be
Well,
cool.
who bought Vertigo?
It was Embracer Group.
Yes.
Embracer Group.
Embracer Group bought Vertigo, and they own a couple of very, very
PlayOn.
large IPs.
PlayOn, I think, is who
Yep.
they're with now. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
With the Steam thing, I think most of the time it costs the developer more to put a good Steam port together and release it than they will ever recoup. in
Right.
PC.
Yeah. There's a couple of things at play here. Like that's certainly one of them. Another thing that you have to consider when you're building a game that's built around standalone, which most cross-platform games these days are. If you're porting that to Steam, especially, there are certain expectations that player base is going to have for that game. Doing just a straight port is not good enough. They want it completely remade and up. They want it to be a PC VR game. They want it to be, they want it to be indistinguishable or close to indistinguishable from a game that was developed for PC first. And if that's not the case, then a lot of time these games will get review bombed on Steam. And while that certainly can kill Steam sales, it doesn't just stop there. If a game gets negative enough reviews on Steam, that can affect sales on Quest. It can affect sales on PlayStation. So it's a risk to bring a port like that over to Steam, especially day and date with the other platforms. It's much smarter to wait. If you're going to bring it to Steam, bring it to the other platforms first, and then bring it to Steam later. So if it does kind of blow up in your face with the reviews, and again, the Steam crowd is a fickle bunch. Like you got to have your shit on point or you're going to get negative reviews over there. It makes more sense monetarily in terms of risk to wait to come to Steam.
Right.
Again, unless you're a company like Vertigo, who is developing a game on PC first and then trying to kind of downsize it and optimize it for the other platforms.
And there's a reason for that though, too, right? Because they own PC VR arcade systems, right?
Yes.
So they are also investing in this to be able to make it an arcade success. Because Arizona Sunshine 1 did tremendous in VR arcades. I would argue that game may be the reason why VR arcades are still in business. Like, that game has done so well, so they needed to make this on PC because they have that whole market there too. But when you develop for PC, you have to develop for many headsets, right? Because people have an Index, people have Windows MR headsets, people have Quest 3, but not just Quest 3 and Quest 2. They have it on virtual desktop, they have it on Link, they have it on AirLink, and everything has different challenges. They have different graphics cards and different motherboards and different, like, there's just so many things that make it so hard to develop for. And don't get me wrong, I play everything PC VR that is there. I will not pick up Quest over PC VR, but I do understand what it takes to kind of develop for a platform like that and what they make on a return, which is so small comparatively speaking.
It's also I'm sorry, it's also the only other platform, or the only platform, that you really have to significantly worry about piracy. Like, nobody's ripping Quest games or PlayStation games, but if you really want to, you never have to buy a popular PC game. You can always get it within a week if you know what you're doing.
We just had some comments. I want to say thank you to everyone for being here. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the comments. Good morning to Sampler and howdy to HamVR. Paradise K brought up a comment for Bradley to talk about the Pico layoffs that he reported on earlier on Twitter.
Yeah, there's actually it was actually kind of like a whole story, because like last week there was kind of rumors of this happening. It started with rumors of that they were like quitting the VR. ByteDance, who owns Pico, who also runs TikTok, Pico would go on to say that's not true, everything's working normal. Then there was rumors that they weren't completely quitting VR, but they were downsizing to focus more on becoming a Apple Vision hardware competitor rather than a Quest 3 or Quest price point sort of competitor. And now we got some actual like pretty much verified news from a couple of sources here. Main one being Tencent Technology News, saying that there is a big amount of layoffs happening at Pico right now, to the point where, like, a couple years ago when they were growing their base, they had like over 2,000 employees, and after this layoff period, they're gonna have employees in the hundreds. So they are definitely downsizing quite a bit. They did really, if you haven't been paying attention to Pico in general, they haven't been doing that well even in China. The Chinese consumer VR market is still not taking off, even with a pretty well subsidized headset there.
I mean, what do you think they're doing wrong though? I mean, because in terms of form factor, and it was ahead of Quest 3.
Mm-hmm.
The pricing was decent. The power behind it's decent. Like, what's it doing wrong? Apart from the fact I don't feel it's got any exclusives that matter. Like, I can't. That's the thing. When you think about Quest, you think about exclusive games. Same as when I talk about PlayStation, I can say, but you need to go there to play these games. I don't see that on Pico. Like,
it was going to be Just Dance, and it never happened.
Yeah, well, right. No Just Dance.
Their competitor is Quest, right? And Quest has such a huge library already established. By the time that they tried to get in the door, they had like 15 titles. You know what I mean? Like, for me as a gamer, if I was looking at the two headsets side by side, not only does Meta, their software and everything else is just more stable and just a better all-around package. They actually have every game that exists on the mobile platform, since the beginning. So, like, I just don't think that they have enough to do on that platform to make it worthwhile buying.
Brad's right with the problem with Pico is China. They are based in China, and the whole entire Chinese market for all of virtual reality is down, is like way down. Like everything has changed. Even companies like iQIYI, who have been a perennial consumer grade standalone headset, are starting to switch their focus to not consumer, but now to enterprise and like location based instead. So their only market for Pico is Europe and Asia, and mainly China. And if that market is terrible, they don't have the American market like Quest does.
Yeah,
So if
they got
Meta,
cock
if
blocked. They got
exactly, if
cock blocked
Pico,
out of North America.
yeah, if Pico had the world market like Meta does, I think they could actually do something, but they don't have it. So actually being part of ByteDance hurts Pico at this point. And then, so I don't even think the money that ByteDance could put behind it is worth it. Like I would prefer to see Pico go to another company right now at this point, get out of ByteDance. I don't know if that would ever happen, but it would be better for Pico.
Yeah, and even Tencent, Brad mentioning that this story came from Tencent, but Tencent themselves 2 years ago was gearing up for their own push into consumer VR out of China. And within what was it, Brad? Within the last 6 months, they've completely scrapped all of that.
In fact, they didn't just scrap it, but they're partnering with Meta, if I remember correctly, to bring Quest headsets, the cheap one coming next year, to the China market. So
Well, there you
Meta's
go.
Pico would
There's your
have to
answer.
compete with Meta on the low end in their own country, which
Oh God.
yeah.
That's exactly what happened to Pico then. If Meta's got an end for China, then it's over. Game over.
I think I honestly just feel sometimes it does come down to software though. Like you could have said in the beginning that the only two big players of consoles were Nintendo and Sega. And then on the third generation of those consoles, PlayStation dropped the first PlayStation. Like who were these fucking guys? Do you know what I mean? Like they were gonna work with Nintendo to make a CD based console, then they didn't do it, and then they made their own console. Then suddenly, who the fuck, like PlayStation are probably massive and killed, and Sega went. So there is an opportunity for someone to make a difference, but PlayStation had software that was interesting and different and new. Like I remember with PlayStation, like playing games from the arcade, Soul Edge at the time, Crash Bandicoot. Then you had Gran Turismo, like software. As Pico, I can't think of a reason to ever put it on, and that's why it's annoying. It's annoying for me that I've got a Pico 4, and it's great for PC VR, in comparison to the Quest 3 actually for performance, because of their software, But that's it.
Well, what I also think is because people don't realize how no company could literally release a headset like Quest 3 or even Quest 2 subsidized and make a profit. And most large companies won't bother because of that.
Yeah.
Meta is a really weird case where they spend like $12 billion a year and they don't freaking care that they're burning that much money a year. And most companies just can't, especially during a downturn economy. So it's reality kicking in.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it crazy? There must be something special about VR for everyone to keep trying to make it live, because that's what's happening, isn't it?
I think it's a lot of FOMO, to be honest. Like Pico got in right when the metaverse boom was kind of elevating and stuff, and yeah, I really do think this industry is constantly going through different phases of FOMO, like all the time. And time and time again, it's proven not to be profitable for most companies, because whether you like it or not, Meta has a stranglehold on the market. Like they're the only company that has a majority leader, Zuckerberg, who does actually believe, at least in the AR side, and sees that how this is a gateway to that point and is willing to spend that. No other company does. So yeah, when companies jump in, they don't make money because this market's still got a lot of stuff we need to improve on. They hop out and wait for the technology to get better and all that other stuff to get better.
That's why I struggle with the hate on Meta for VR, because I've said it before. I just don't know where it would be without Quest, and I know the PlayStation people will not want to hear that Quest is any good, but we're about to get Assassin's Creed in VR. And it literally goes full circle back to what I'm saying about exclusives. That shit matters. PlayStation have got the ability to fucking drop absolute bangers absolute bangers that people love just as much. Assassin's Creed is a massive brand. It's huge. But PlayStation have their own massive brands.
Yeah, and IP is just one part of the equation. That isn't what essentially makes exclusives great. Because I would argue that the reason why PSVR 1 was as great as it was because of its exclusives. But they weren't like big name IPs. That's not why they were great. The reason why they were great is because of the investment that goes into them,
Yeah.
the polish that goes into them. That's why exclusives are good, is because you have the platform holder putting forth resources to put out a game or a piece of software that is good and polished enough to sell their headset. And that's why exclusives are great no matter what platform you're talking about, no matter whether or not the IP is huge or new. Exclusives are always the best games just because they have more resources applied to them.
Yeah. Look at it. Look at what Insomniac did.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
fucking hell, that's some high quality shit.
Yeah, look what they did for Meta. Look what Insomniac did for Meta with Stormland, well, they did like 4 titles, right? They did Stormland. Did Unspoken, was that them as well?
Something
I think
like that.
was.
Yeah, there was a Fury game. Like I never played that one personally.
Oh yeah. You're right. They had a fighting game, and then they had like Edge of Nowhere,
and
which
Edge
was
of Nowhere.
amazing as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. So as Pico, I just feel now just wasn't maybe the time to try and break into a market that was already struggling anyway. I don't know. Do you think they're still going to be in the space, Brad, for a lot longer, or?
I do feel they're going to try to target for the Apple Vision Pro stuff for what's left over them. Like, I think you're going to see a lot of people target that because it's the only way that they think make a profit. Like, they're not going to subsidize hardware and then make no money back on software. So let's at least have a high tier copycat of what Apple's doing and try to make the profit on the hardware and see how it goes, So
how do you feel Quest 3 will play? How do you think Quest 3 will sell when Apple Vision Pro drops? Do you think sales will be affected at all? Do you think, I mean, there's not, this is just my take on it. With the Lite even being rumored, the Quest 3 Lite, that literally sounds to me like this is a fucking crazy cheaper version of mixed reality, and there's already tons of examples of it from standard people just making it in their room, like mixed reality experiences and stuff. What do you think will happen?
I think Quest 3 over the long term still has a performance issue when it comes to the stuff that, like, I think what's going to happen is people are going to there's probably going to be a surge after Apple Vision releases where people are going to want to buy Meta Quest 3 to get the cheaper option. But I think it's going to die down over time as people see that there is like big differences of what these different platforms can offer to people.
And competitors.
Yeah, like we also have Samsung. They're also coming out, and they're not going to be Apple Vision Pro price, and they're also not going to be Meta Quest 3 price, but they're going to be like right in the middle, and they're going to be targeting the feature set that Apple's pushing. So it's going to be it really is kind of a weird time that's going to happen here. I think that I really do think that Meta's only pushing this super low end headset because they are kind of nervous about this kind of weird change in the market, and they only think that they can sell as well. Well, let's start with Quest 3. Quest 3 sold a fair amount already, but it's already nowhere near, from what I understand, what Quest 2 was doing during its launch.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
If you haven't experienced MR, all you've got is a load of people telling you that it's fine. The one thing I saw was Quest 2 owners focusing on the negatives of Quest 3 because it then justifies your reason not to make the purchase. Right. Oh, I've heard pass-through's grainy. And I'm like, yeah, it can be, but if you adjust your lighting, and they're like, no, it's not good enough. I'm like, I mean, there's no talking about it now. So And I think that, you know, and they want to know how much better is it, and it is better. It's not a crazy fucking next generation leap better, unless you're talking Red Matter 2 in some ways, but that's a rare situation, kind of like what Wes was just saying. When you get a developer that literally pours everything into something, you get something special. And Red Matter 2 on Quest 3 is that, like, enigma almost. That is a rare exception of fantastic quality on Quest 3, and I still haven't seen anything actually that looks as good as Red Matter 2 yet. So
I think the lenses are enough reason to upgrade for anybody that's got a Quest 2. Like, that's a night and day difference.
My
right?
Quest 2 is in the cupboard and it's not coming out. Like, I'm never going to use it again.
So how
I
I
feel
feel
like-
My Pro is the same way now. I haven't touched my Pro since I got my Quest.
Did you
3.
hear that, Roots? He squinted his eye at you then.
I
Man,
am
she
not-
went, he
I
went,
am
yeah. Like,
This is my thing. I had spent 6 hours trying to figure out why in the middle of playing Uncharted 4, I came out of the game and it told me you need to connect your headset to the computer to use it. And I'm thinking I was just using it. So it wants me to link it to my website, and I do, and it gives me an error, and I do it again, it gives me an error. And then I couldn't link AirLink or the Quest link. And it took me about over 2 days, 6 hours of troubleshooting or more. And I decided I don't want another Meta headset, standalone headset for my PC VR. I down the road, I could see getting a Quest 4 for standalone. Absolutely. But I don't want to use a standalone. Why am I plugging my PC VR headset into a USB-C and using my battery? Like, why is my battery an issue for PC VR? That alone drives me crazy. I just feel like there's so many things that I sacrifice that are like weird with using a mixed or this standalone headset for PC VR. People say, yeah, it's hybrid. No, it's not. It's a standalone that will do PC VR when it fucking wants to. And I just it gets so frustrating that I just want a Deckard. I want a display port. I want to hook up my PC VR headset and have it just work. Think about this, okay? Imagine a world where you go in to use your computer and your monitor works sometimes. Like, it should work every fucking time. That headset is a glorified monitor, okay? And it does a lot of shit, but it's a monitor. And when it doesn't work, when I can't connect it, that really frustrates me. So
But
I decided,
listen, Roots, even though your monitor doesn't work when it's connected up to your PC, sometimes it will give you a nice watered down version of the stuff that's on your PC. It might not be as good as what's on your actual PC, but you don't even need the PC, bro, because
That's right.
you know,
You
it's
got
got like a 486 Pentium or something built right in.
I just it's weird to me. Like, I don't even know why, like, we're still going through the battery. Like, you know what I mean? Aside from the fact that they won't get away from the USB-C. And I'm sure there's reasons for it, but like, I just feel like why the Pico obviously has a display port. You can have a display port. It can exist, right, on standalones. It's like not something that can't happen. So I don't know.
I was just reading that Brandon VR says, I never had problems. I just stream in 180p. I didn't even know
180.
what resolution is that? Like,
Roots, you know what else Roots has USB-C? PSVR 2. I don't think
Hey,
it's USB-C that's the issue, right?
You know who has
Yeah.
hepatitis C?
I heard that. Actually, that makes me worried. Yeah, you're right. And their USB-C works every time. I've never had my PlayStation VR 2 not work.
And it's the
And,
brightest headset of the bunch, right? It's HDR, super bright. Power isn't the problem there, I don't think.
Yeah. So that's kind of
Well,
that's a
it's
good
not
point.
there.
I don't know what they need to do. I just feel like I should be able to hook it up every single time I want to hook it up. I've got a link cable their official cable. You know what I mean? And why does it work and then suddenly stop working? To the point where in Metas, this is their thing. You know, you call to troubleshoot. Well, what are they going to tell you? Oh, you got to wipe your headset. Like, that's their number one thing for anything. That's so bizarre too, because now I don't have the Virtual Strangers account on there. I got to rehook it up. So yeah, that's my frustration so I've decided a while ago I will not buy another standalone headset for PC VR. I won't do it. I'll buy one for standalone, but not as a hybrid. I'm just not doing it anymore.
So I wanted to like add my little like final thoughts about Quest 3 because I have been thinking about this a lot because I still haven't even done my review for it. I spent a long time before I do a review because yeah, you do run into glaring issues like what Roots is saying. Like it drives you nuts. As you like run into them more often, you have more time running into them. It drives you nuts. But I think with Quest 3, the one thing that like makes me not super positive when comparing it to these extremely expensive headsets that are focusing on the mixed reality, because really that's like the big thing with Quest 3. I think that they're positioning it as like a mixed reality device. And while it's acceptable quality, I feel the mixed reality generation in Quest 3 is like as acceptable as the Vive was back in 2016 for VR. Like it's okay. You can do stuff in it, but most people who want to like will not spend much time over like a long periods of time in it. I'm also not a believer currently still that mixed reality games are gonna change that. I think the biggest benefit for people for mixed reality is productivity, and when it comes to that use case, you really do want the best of the best if you're gonna actually spend a lot of time in it. So you're going to have people be like, yeah, it's $500 cheaper than the other competitive products, but as over time, people feel that the best use case for mixed reality, at least right now, is like monitor replacement or doing all this stuff in like spatial computing and stuff. I do think people will eventually see there is a reason why you want better of all this hardware for it, and that will kind of relegate with the Quest line being like probably good for you guys because you guys like the gaming stuff. I think people only care about the Quest stuff as a gaming thing. Like they won't see it as this multi-purpose device that much. And yeah, you're just gonna see a huge divide. That's how I feel about it. So
do you think we could see a new version of Quest Pro that is, you know, actually delivers on some of the promise that that they're selling people on for mixed reality, and delivers a device that not only competes with Apple Vision Pro, but competes with all of the new competitors that are going to be jumping into this space over the next 2 to 3 years?
I really think Meta's in a very precarious position. I think they totally could make an amazing Quest Pro 2 based on what I've seen on Quest 3. That's what like drives me wild is Quest Pro and like Quest 3 taken some of the worst parts about Quest Pro and made them good. And like I want the extreme end of that. Like they should have a Quest Pro 2 with the basis of Quest 3 like sooner than I think they are. Now the problem is, and this is the thing I've run into and realized over time is using Quest 3 is Meta's not in a position to even do anything with it software wise, because like Apple, they're gonna have the App Store to do every single iPad app day one flat in your spatial environment. Samsung is partnered with Google. They're gonna have the Google Play Store to run any single flat app that people are used to and accustomed to day one. Meta doesn't even have a platform for developers to develop flat apps. You have to rely on the browser, which the browser in the Quest is probably the most bare bones browser I've ever used on any device ever. It's very terrible and laggy. So I don't know. Like I know Meta want to leave this like toy or game console thing, but I really don't think they're positioned at all to do so. And
they need to do something that we've been calling for years from the gaming perspective, that they need to partner with Microsoft. That's what they need to do. They need to support, first of all, Xbox needs to support Oculus Link to play PC VR games on that console, and all of this productivity apps and suites that Windows supports needs to be supported natively on the next generation Quest Pro.
I even think if we're talking about flat apps, and this is where we get into conspiracy theory stuff, but like even Valve has a huge library of flat games or apps that they can tap into, just run in the MR environment. And that's kind of the weird thing about Meta is like, yeah, we're talking about how they're funding all of these like VR experiences and games and whatever, a lot of that stuff can be ported like to any other platform with the right amount of money and like experience and whatever. But when Meta doesn't have anything for these big wave of flat application spatial computing that people can't even port over, yeah, it's a weird thing for XR right now.
Well, plus the apps that they're gonna have, like from Disney and all those, like they're gonna have big hitters, and so you're gonna have this cheaper mixed reality Quest 3 with nothing to, like you said, nothing to run, or Apple will have all these amazing things, and I think it's gonna make the Quest's mixed reality kind of look like dog shit. Like the software is king, I think. So.
That hard to get in the chat said something I totally agree with. Mainstream will buy the Quest 3s when they see it's cheaper than Apple. Then they'll try it and they'll see it's worse experience than just using their monitor or TV. And I think that's totally true. Like the only time I want to use my Quest for like desktop use is when I'm not in the same room as my monitor. And because if I'm in the same room as my monitor, I want to use my monitor because it's just a better experience. You have to create hardware that makes people want to sacrifice their TV or monitor. So yeah, that's where the price comes from. I really do believe so.
The issue though is that we don't have a price point to get to the technology that Apple's showing that is attainable for 90% of the population.
Right.
So
Or more.
if you want anything that's going to be even close, you are going to have to go to the Quest to get it, because people are going to want they're going to look at the Apple and go, yeah, that's amazing, but I'm not buying that. For the majority of the population, so they will go to the Quest. To me,
they have the opportunity to deliver something in that same kind of price area that the Quest Pro 1 came out, but actually do it with hardware that justifies the price. Give us 16 gigabytes of RAM, or even the 12 that's in the original. Give us a next gen processor, give us a next gen display, or even micro OLED, right? Like give us something to justify that price point. It doesn't have to hit every bell and whistle that Apple does, but give us most of that at half the price, and there will be a market for that.
Yeah, I'm one of the weirdos in this industry that feels like okay, again, Meta's going to be spending like $15 billion per year starting next year, which is increasing from their $12 billion a year. That is not normal for a nascent industry, for a company to do something like that. And my belief is if it's not working out, then maybe the hardware and software we have now is just not ready, and eventually when it is proven out, then things will like explode. So I never really believed that like, oh, we need to pray for Daddy Zuckerberg to make VR a big thing. Like I never felt that way, and I still don't feel that way. Like people will find use and use things when they're useful. And I don't think like Quest 2, people thought like, oh, VR is saved. Like we sold 12 million Quest 1s and Quest 2s together, and then most of them went in closets. And now with Quest 3 out, they only raised the price $200 more than Quest 3 and add all these features, and people are saying, yeah, I don't really want to buy it because I use Quest 2 and I put it in my closet. Like I don't know, I just really see the industry very differently, I feel. So yeah.
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. I unfortunately have got to end the show because I am amazingly tired. Due to the clock's change.
How dare you?
I'm so sorry.
How dare you?
Thank you to everyone.
Dare you?
And
Greta's pissed.
I was getting bombarded by how dare yous. Oh dear. Did I read out that last super chat? From Laszlo 216, $5. Will Samsung and Apple have IP? Do you think they'll develop their own? I don't think they'll develop gaming IP. I think they'll have their own apps. Yeah. Brad?
I think they'll have Squingle.
Yes.
Who doesn't have Squingle?
That's true.
No, someone said Monopoly. Hell yeah.
It's all about the ecosystems with these companies coming out. People won't care much about hardware when it comes to the high end. They'll just care about what ecosystem they use in all their other devices, and that will decide it for most people. So
Apple all the way.
Yeah, I don't like their ecosystem though. I don't like it.
Oh, I've got to get a new iWatch, man. I was on holiday last week and my daughter decided to tread on my wrist while I was under the water with my watch on. And for some reason, the battery life has just gone to like 20% of what it used to be. It's like 3 or 4 hours and it just dies. Don't know what to do, but man, crazy stuff. As I said earlier, again, thank you ever so much to everyone who came through today and watched the show. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for subscribing during the show. And thank you for any super chats. Thank you ever so much. And thank you to all my fellow guests for being here. They're all super busy guys and they make time to do this. So it's very much appreciated by everyone. Thank you, fellas. And I hope everyone has a great week in VR. Have we got anything dropping this week that we know about?
Email battles.
Email battles is this week.
Email
Stride Fates
battles.
is this week.
Stride
Fates is
Fates.
amazing. Yeah. Stride Fates, go get Stride Fates. It's what we wanted. I'll just say that. I'm gonna be careful what we can say.
I know.
It's what we've wanted from the original Stride. Like if you remember when the original Stride came out, and you're like, man, this is not exactly what I want. I want Mirror's Edge. Go get it. Go
Right.
get 'em.
Well, now I've got two videos to make this week. Yeah, sorted. Right. Thanks, guys. Look after yourselves. Take care. Have a great week, everyone in the chat. Stay safe. See you soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Easy.